Edge of Eternity, huh? Looks interesting. Wow, this actually looks kind of good. What the heck? I've been looking for a reason to make another video review after so many years away from it. Why not? Edge of Eternity is a JRPG with a hex-based movement system paired with the more traditional JRPG battle mechanics. There are open environments to explore, lots of treasure to loot. The game gives off a very Xenoblade Chronicles kind of vibe, and it really works to its benefit. Placement around the battlefield is paramount to success with casting spells and protecting your teammates. The combat system really isn't one of the complaints that I have with the game, but more on that later. Now, the game gets a lot right. The game can be downright beautiful at times, the music is lovely, and the dialogue between the characters is snappy and well written. But you may not want to take my opinion for that. I mean, seriously, I don't think I've actually fully read a book in years, so maybe my opinion on writing isn't one you should trust. The enemy design is serviceable, many of the magic attacks look really awesome, and you can honestly feel that this was a title made by passionate people who really wanted to make the best world they could. The problem, though, is that for every step Edge of Eternity takes forward, it gets a little bit of poo on its foot. It's not exactly settling when the first thing you're greeted with after the initial splash screen is a message from the developers saying effectively, "We know it's broke, we're trying, please be patient." That doesn't exactly tee up the ball for them to knock it out of the park. First impressions are super important for a game, and I'd honestly recommend they remove this screen and put it in the credits or something. But I digress. The game's lack of budget can be felt in just about every facet of the game. When characters change position in a scene, it's always done off camera. When characters hand each other things, it's always a gesture of give and take rather than actually seeing an item change hands in a believable fashion. Their cloth sim system seems to cause clipping pretty much just everywhere, and come on folks, I honestly thought we all agreed that jiggle physics were juvenile and dumb. Anyway. That's all to say that the lack of polish can be rather off-putting. But that's not to say that if the game had more polish, that Edge of Eternity would have been perfect. There are some fundamental design issues here as well. The UI being unresponsive and buggy, the world feeling rather lifeless outside of the towns, enemy variety could be considerably better, and while the dialogue isn't half bad, there's way too much of it.
That is one big pile of
dialogue.
It also does that super annoying thing where it stops all of the action in progress to show you a pop-up tutorial window, and many other issues. Even attempting to get to the main story can be a chore whenever that one special key item that you need simply won't drop. Seriously, no exaggeration, I spent over 2 hours grinding the same enemy to try and get a Dunrear antler to drop. I imagine one of the bigger deal breakers for folks will be the performance. Personally, I've always been happy to overlook the occasional hitch or low frame rate if the action on screen earns it. But with Edge of Eternity, it gets really bad in spots. Even on the rather beefy PC like my own, it tends to have some really concerning performance problems. I can't imagine what it might be like on the original Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I'm not even going to attempt to look at footage for the Switch version because I'm pretty sure that one's going to look so nasty and gross, I'll need a VPN to watch it. And no, I'm not about to launch into an ad for a VPN. Screw in-video ads, I pay for a YouTube premium account, I shouldn't be seeing any ads in video or otherwise, but I'm getting off topic again. I'll be 100% honest because that is always the best policy. I did not finish the game. In fact, I only put about 10 hours in. I could see a gem buried under all the refuse, but since the game has been out since June 2021, I'm not super confident that we'll see any patches that makes it better at this point. There is a truly great game in here somewhere, but the developers needed to spend more time bringing it out. I'd really rather not make my way through this entire game, all the while garnering more and more disappointment for what this game could have ultimately become. I truly hope the developers patch the crap out of this game to make improvements. Who knows, you might be watching this at a time after the devs have already released a patch making the game worthy of your hard-earned dollar. The game is half the price of a normal AAA game, but I can't in good conscience recommend it yet. In reaching for the lofty heights of a game like Xenoblade Chronicles, they immediately set themselves up an impossibly high bar for a small developer. But while I don't recommend spending a bunch of money on it, all things considered, they should be proud of what they've made. Sure, it might not have turned out as polished as those other large-scale games, but they should be proud that they made a game with this large of a scope that wasn't a complete trash fire. But therein lies the main issue for me. The game simply tries to do too much for its indie capabilities. At the time of this recording, the game is currently on Game Pass. It's certainly worth checking out if you've got a Game Pass account already. And I guess if you're willing to accept a whole lot of warts to play a game of this ilk, then Edge of Eternity is for you. Otherwise, I'd recommend maybe waiting on the chance for the developers to patch this one up.